Okay, so once we have that data, the next thing I want to talk about is editing shapefiles. Like I said, GIS isn't really a drawing program. It's not meant for like drawing maps or things on maps, but it does have an interface for editing the actual shapefile. Okay, and you do this per layer by selecting the layer in your layers panel and then hitting this pencil icon. Or you can also right-click and do toggle editing. So when you click that, this file will be activated for editing. You see there's a pencil here, replaces the geometry type. And it's going to stay like that until you finish editing. You can only edit one layer at a time. So basically what happens is, because it's a reference to an external file, when you click that pencil, it opens the file, you make changes to it. When you click the pencil again, it'll ask you if you want to save those changes. If you hit yes, the actual original shapefile will be changed. Okay, so the GIS is just an interface for working with these files. All right. So if I hit this pencil here, now I'm editing this shapefile. I can edit both the geography and the geometry here, and I edit the data. Okay, again, those are one and the same thing. So if you want to edit data or change data or put in more data, you do the same thing. You hit the pencil and enable it for editing. To change the geometry, here it should have tools in the same panel as the pencil for editing geometry. This will be different depending on what kind of geometry you're working on. So here I have point data, so there should be an icon with add features. And here it'll just let me add points. Every time I click to add a point, it's going to pop up this interface and ask me to enter all the data. It has all the fields here in the data set, and it'll ask me for those pieces. Because again, every point has some data behind it, right? So I could just keep those all as blank, hit OK, there's my point, okay? Now if I hit save at this point, that point will be input into my shapefile, okay? It's just like adding points, you can select data this way with the selection tool. And then while in editing mode, you can delete features by hitting this delete feature key. And it's gone. Okay, so be careful. If you start deleting things and you hit save or you stop editing, it's going to change the original file. Okay, so just like I can change the geometry of these things, I can go into my attribute table and start actually making changes to the data itself. And this is one and the same, right? So selected those, and somewhere in here I'll have a bunch of selected things. So if I delete something here, see it's the same key, it will delete it here as well. Okay, so another thing I can do is start changing the data itself. So for instance, if I have these extra fields that I don't need, I can delete those from the data set. You have to be in editing mode again. There's different tools for working with the data up here. This is a delete column tool. So you can just, it loads in all your features. You can just select the columns you don't want, hit delete. And once you're done with changes, you can hit the save button, or if you toggle editing to turn editing off and you have unsaved changes, it's going to ask you if you want to save them or you want to discard them. Okay, so I'll hit save, and now my actual shapefile is changed. So it doesn't matter if I save this map or not. When I import this shapefile into any other map, it's going to have those changes already. Okay, so that's editing. And this is going to change, the editing interface will change slightly depending on what kind of feature you're using, right? So if you're using a line feature, it's going to have a tool for creating polylines. If you're using a shape or polygon feature, it's going to have a tool for creating shapes.